Hi, everyone. Good morning, students, staff. What? Oh. And good morning to family members and friends watching online. Welcome to Hasbrook Heights Poetry Out Loud School Finals 2024. Woo! Yeah. So, I love this time of year when everyone's been talking about poetry, reading it, reciting it, doing it all together through diligent, impassioned, and sometimes challenging work. Poetry has united the whole school community. Poetry gives us so much, expression and feeling, but also connection. We may read and write poetry in solitude, but it's also a form of communication, one that here today is a highly social moment. A well-performed poem has its magic. It has not only the ability to make us feel something, but the ability to make us feel something together. This shared experience gives us all fuller access to the magic and beauty of poetry, but also to the essence of human experience. Past poet laureate Tracy Smith worded it so well. She said, "One of poetry's great effects is to guide us toward the part of ourselves so deeply buried that it borders on the collective." So yes, we're joined in reading and reciting poetry, but the ways it makes us feel connect us to one another too. I find that connection to be so powerful. In her poem, My God, It's Full of Stars, Tracy Smith also said, "Perhaps our greatest error is believing we're alone." We're together today in this shared moment when we'll hear our students join in this timeless tradition of honoring the power of the spoken word. I'm honored to have this opportunity to privilege poetry and give it its time in all of our lives. And it's not just this school that's connecting in this way. It's 4 million students across the nation that are competing also. Today we have 27 students ranging from freshmen to seniors coming together to recite poetry. They, along with students across the state, will be looking for a chance to win their school's competition, for a chance to compete in a regional final. The winners of regionals go on to state finals, where winners receive a stipend and an all-expense-paid trip to compete nationally. And then at nationals, a total of $50,000 in rewards and scholarships is awarded each year. A tremendous opportunity that begins here as students take part in this competition in front of our judges. Judges will evaluate the contestants based on the following criteria: voice and articulation, physical presence, dramatic appropriateness, overall performance, evidence of understanding, and accuracy. So please join me in welcoming our judges today. They are Hasbrook Heights High School Principal, Mrs. Simmons. Director of Curriculum, Mrs. Vetrano. And board members, Mrs. Ferdinand and Mrs. Sousa. Yeah. The audience must remain silent, holding applause until the end of the competition. The snaps are fine. We're live streaming and all noises are heard at home, so just to be wary of what you're doing. So here are today's rules for the competition. Students must have selected their poems from the Poetry Out Loud anthology. They must recite these poems from memory. Judge decisions are final and may not be reconsidered once they're submitted. And then after we close the competition today, we'll make an announcement over the loudspeaker about the winners. There will be a brief pause in between recitations as judges calculate their scores. Students will come to the right of the stage when prompted by Miss Music. Remember that students only state the title of the poem and author of the poem. You know what? I forgot to say that Miss Shelley is the accuracy judge. Woo! That's a tough job. And Mr. McShane is the prompter. So if you get stuck at some point, you just say line and he'll help you out. Okay, so I have nothing further to add. Students will come up the stage and when prompted, and that's it. So let's get this party started. Yeah. All right.
Charmed by Afra Ben, song from Abdelazar. Love in fantastic triumph sat, whilst bleeding hearts around him flowed, for whom fresh pains he did create, and strange tyrannic power he showed. From thy bright eyes he took his fire, which round about in sport he hurled, but 'twas from mine he took desire, enough to undo the amorous world. From me he took his sighs and tears, from thee his pride and cruelty, from me his languishments and fears, and every killing dart from thee. Thus thou and I, the god, have armed, and set him up a deity, but my poor heart alone is harmed, whilst thine the victor is, and free.
There's a switch on the top. They didn't hit it. There's a little switch on the microphone. Yeah, it did. Good thing is she spoke loud. Noticed I was like, oh. Make sure that's on.
Let It Be Forgone by Sarah Teasdale. Let it be forgone, as a flower is forgone, forgone as a fire that once was single. Let it be forgone forever and ever. Time is a kind friend, he will make us old. If anyone asks, say it was forgone, long and long ago. As a flower, as a fire, as a hushed footfall, in a long forgotten snow.
is the thing with feathers, by Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul, and sings the tune without the words, and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm, that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land, and on the strangest sea, yet never, in extremity, it asked a crumb of me. La figlia che piange by T.S. Eliot. O quam te memoram Virgo. Stand on the highest pavement of the stair. Lean on a garden urn. Weave. Weave the sunlight in your hair. Clasp your flowers to you with a pained surprise. Fling them to the ground and turn, with a fugitive resentment in your eyes. But weave. Weave the sunlight in your hair. So I would have had him grieve. So I would have him leave. So I would have had her stand and grieve. So he would have left, as the soul leaves the body torn and bruised, as the mind deserts the body it has used. I should find some way, incomparably light and deft, some way we both should understand. Simple and faithless as a smile and shake of the hand. She turned away, but with the autumn weather compelled my imagination many days and many hours, her hair over her arms and her arms full of flowers. And I wonder how they should have been together. I should have lost a gesture and a pose. Sometimes these cogitations still amaze the troubled midnight and the news prose.
I know, but it's the average of the scores. Huh?
Danse Russe by William Carlos Williams. If I, when my wife is sleeping, and the baby and Kathleen are sleeping, and the sun is a flame-white disk in silken mist above shining trees, if I, in my north room, dance naked, grotesquely before my mirror, waving my shirt round my head and singing softly to myself, I am lonely, lonely. I was born to be lonely. I am best so. If if I admire my arms, my face, my shoulders, flanks, buttocks against the yellow drawn shades, who shall say I am not the happy genius of my household?
They have to say it.
By William Butler Yeats. When you are old and gray and full asleep, and nodding by the fire, take down this book and slowly read, and dream of the soft look your eyes once had and of their shadows deep. How many loved your moments of glad grace, and loved your beauty with love false or true, but one man loved the pilgrim soul in you. And bending down beside the glowing bars, murmur a little sadly how love fled, and paced upon the mountains overhead, and hid his face amid a crowd of stars.
Helen by H.D. All Greece hates the still eyes in a white face, the luster as of olives where she stands, in a white hands. All Greece reviles the one face when she smiles, hating it deeper still when it grows wan and white, remembering past enchantments and past ills. Greece sees unmoved God's daughter, born of love, the beauty of cool feet and slenderest knees. Could love indeed the maid, if only she were laid, white ash amid funereal cypresses.
Always Something More Beautiful by Stephen Dunn. This time, I came to the starting place with my best running shoes and pure speed held back for the finish. Came with only love of the clock and the underfooting and the other runners. Each of us would be testing excellence and endurance in the other. Though in the past I'd often veer off to follow some feral distraction down a side path, allowing myself to pursue something odd or beautiful, becoming acquainted with a few of the ways not to blame myself for failing to succeed. I had come to believe what was beautiful had more to do with daring, to take yourself seriously, to stay the course, whatever the course might be. The person in front seemed ready to fade, his long, graceful stride shortening as I came up along his side. I was sure now I'd at least exceed time. But the man with the famous final kick already had begun his move. Beautiful, I heard a spectator say, as if something inevitable about to come from nowhere was again on its way.
Get Your Little Rhyme by Eve Merriam. Once upon a time, I caught a little rhyme. I said it on the floor, but it ran out the door. I chased it on my bicycle, but it melted to an icicle. I scooped it up with my hat, but it turned into a cat. I caught it by the tail, and it stretched out into a whale. I followed it in a boat, but it turned into a goat. When I fed it tin and paper, it grew to a tall skyscraper. Then it grew into a kite and flew far out of sight.
I Am by John Clare. I am, yet what I am, none cares or knows. My friends forsake me like a memory lost. I am the self-consumer of my woes. They rise and vanish in oblivious host, like shadows in love's frenzied, stifled throes, and yet I am, and live, like vapors tossed. Into the nothingness of scorn and noise, into the living sea of waking dreams where there is neither sense of life or joys, but the vast shipwreck of my life's esteems. Even the dearest that I love the best are strange, nay, rather, stranger than the rest. I long for scenes where man hath never trod, a place where woman never smiled or wept, there to abide with my Creator, God, and sleep as I in childhood sweetly slept, untroubling and untroubled where I lie, the grass below, above the vaulted sky.
Place by Emily Jungmin Yu. In my country, our shamans were women and our gods multiple. Until white people brought an ecstasy of rosaries, and our cities today glow with crosses like graveyards. As a child in Sunday school, I was told that I'd go to hell if I didn't believe in God. Our teacher was a woman whose daughters wanted to be nuns, and I asked, what about babies? And what about Buddha? And she said, they're in hell too. And so I memorized prayers and recited them in front of women I did not believe in. Deliver us from evil, O sweet Virgin Mary, Amen. Oh sweet, oh sweet. In this country, what is sweeter than hearing, have mercy on us, from those who serve different gods? Oh clement, oh loving, oh God, amidst ruins, amidst waters, fleeing, fleeing, deliver from evil. Oh sweet, oh sweet. In this country, point at the moon, stars, point at the way the lake lies, with a handful of feathers, and they will look at the feathers and kill you for it. Religion they don't believe in is magic, so be it. Let us have magic. Let us have our own mothers and scarves, our spirits, our shamans. Let us keep our stars to ourselves, and we shall pray to no one. Let us eat what makes us holy.
The road not taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry that I cannot travel both, and be one traveler long as I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bends in the undergrowth, and then down the other as just as fair, and having perhaps better claim, because it was grassy and wanted where the traveling there warned it really. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged a yellow wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the coldest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds a sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep.
The Lake Isle of Innisfree by William Butler Yeats. I will arise and go now, and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin build there, of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honey bee, and live alone in the bee-loud glade. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the vales of the mornings where the cricket sings. There, midnight's all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evening full of the linnet's wings. I will arise and go now, for always night and day. I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore. While I stand on the roadway or on the pavement's gray, I hear it in the deep heart's core.
Song of the Powers by David Mason. Mine, said the stone. Mine is the hour. I crush the scissors, such is my power. Stronger than wishes, my power alone. Mine, said the paper. Mine all the words that snuff the stone. With imagined birds, reams of them flown from the mind of the shaper. Mine, said the scissors. Mine all the knives, dashing through paper's ethereal lives. Nothing so proper as tottering wishes. As stone crushes scissors, as paper snuffs stone, and scissors cut paper. All end alone. So heap up your paper and scissor your wishes, and uproot the stone from the top of the hill. They all end alone. As you will.
Red Rose by Robert Burns. Oh, my love is like a river rose that smoothly sprung in June. Oh, my love is like the melody that sweetly played in tune. So fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas can dry. So all the seas can dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun. I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of love shall run. And fare thee weel, my only love, and fare thee weel a while, and I will come again, my love, though over 10,000 miles.
How to Triumph Like a Girl by Ada Limon. I like the lady horses best. How they make it all look easy. Like running 40 miles per hour is as fun as taking a nap or grass. I like their lady horse swagger after winning. Ears up, girls, ears up. But mainly, let's be honest, I like that they're ladies. Like running 40 miles per hour is as fun as taking a nap or grass. As if this big, dangerous animal is as part of me that somewhere inside the delicate skin of my body, there pumps an 8 pounds female horse heart. Don't you want to believe it? Don't you want to lift my shirt and see the huge, beating genius machine that thinks? No, it knows it's going to come in first.
I heard a fly buzz when I died by Emily Dickinson. I heard a fly buzz when I died. The stillness in the room was like the stillness in the air between the heaves of storm. The eyes around had wrung them dry, and breaths were gathering firm for that last onset when the king be witnessed in the room. I willed my keepsakes, signed away what portion of me be assignable. And then it was, there interposed a fly, with a blue, uncertain, stumbling buzz between the light and me. And then the windows failed, and then I could not see to see.
A Soldier by Rupert Brooke. If I should die, think only this of me, that there's some corner of a foreign field that is forever England. There shall be in that rich earth a richer dust concealed, a dust whom England bore, shaped, made aware, gave once her flowers to love, her ways to roam,
a body of England's breathing English air, washed by the rivers, blessed by sons of hope. And think, this heart, all evil shed away, a pulse in the eternal mind no less gives summer back to thoughts by England given. Her sights and sounds, dreams happy as her day, and laughter, learn of friends and gentleness, and hearts at peace under an English oven.
Those Winter Sundays by Robert Hayden. Sundays too, my father got up early and put on his clothes in the blue-black cold, then with cracked hands that ached from labor in the weekday weather, made banked fires blaze. No one ever thanked him. I'd wake and hear the cold splintering, breaking. The rooms were warm. When the rooms were warm, he'd call, and slowly I would rise and dress, fearing the chronic angers of that house. Speaking indifferently to him, who had driven out the cold and polished my good shoes as well. What did I know? What did I know of love's austere and lonely offices? To my dear and loving husband by Anne Bradstreet. If ever two were one, then surely we. If ever man were loved by a wife, then thee. If ever wife was happy in a man, compare with me, ye women, if you can. I prize thy love more than whole mines of gold, or all the riches that the east doth hold. My love is such that rivers cannot quench, nor aught but love from thee give recompense. Thy love is such, I can no way repay, the heavens reward thee manifold, I pray. Then while we live in love, let's so persever, that when we live no more, we may live ever.
Is To the Desert by Benjamin Alire Simons. I came to you one rainless August night. You taught me how to live without the rain. You are thirst, and thirst is all I know. You are sand, wind, sun, and burning sky, the hottest blue. You blow a breeze and brand your breath into my mouth. You reach, then bend, your force to break, blow, burn, and make me new. You wrap your name tight around my ribs and keep me warm. I was born for you, above, below, by you surrounded. I wake to you at dawn, never break your knot. Reach, rise, blow. Sálvame, mi Dios, trágame mi tierra. Salva, traga, break me, I am bread. I will be the water for your thirst.
When You Are Old by William Butler Yeats. When you are old and gray and full of sleep and nodding by the fire, take down this book and slowly read, and dream of the soft look your eyes had once, and of their shadows deep. How many loved your moments of glad grace, and loved your beauty with love false and true. But one man loved the pilgrim soul in you, and loved the sorrows of your changing face. And bending down beside the glowing bars, remember a little sadly how love fled, and paced upon the mountains overhead, and hid his face amid a crowd of stars.
Keeping Things Whole by Mark Strand. In a field, I am the absence of field. This is always the case, for wherever I am what is missing. When I walk, I put the air, and always the air moves in to fill in the spaces where my body's been. We all have reasons for moving. I move to keep things whole.
El Olvido by Judith Ortiz Cofer. It is a dangerous thing to forget the climate of your birthplace, to choke out the voices of dead relatives when in dreams they call you by your secret name. It is dangerous to spurn the clothes you were born to wear for the sake of fashion, dangerous to use weapons and sharp instruments you are not familiar with, dangerous to disdain the plastered saints before which your mother kneels, praying with embarrassing fervor that you survive in the place you have chosen to live. A bare, cold room with no pictures on the walls, a forgetting place where she fears you will die of loneliness and exposure. Jesus, Maria, y Jose, she says, el olvido is a dangerous thing.
I want to thank the contestants today who did a fabulous job. Woo! The audience was awesome too. Yeah. Thank everyone who helped make this event possible. The English department, we have an awesome English department. Everybody helped and volunteered their time. Tom Maddie, Jake, the tech department, and our judges, Mrs. Simmons, Mrs. Vetrano, Mrs. Ferdinand, Mrs. Sousak, Ms. Shelley, and Mr. McShane. And thank you to everyone here and online who tuned in to celebrate with our students. Stay tuned for the winners. We're going to announce them later on in the day. Thanks, guys.